On the harsh African savanna, out of every 10 lion cubs, 8 never reach their second birthday. Because the one that wins is not the strongest, but the one that learns fast enough. Tell us which territory you are watching from before we step into this battle for survival. October in South Luangwa is the peak of the dry season, when temperatures can reach 45 degrees Celsius and water grows scarcer by the day. The granite outcrops become the most valuable shelter left for cubs too young to follow the pride any distance. The roar of the whole pride carries almost 8 kilometers, far enough to call scattered members home, but also far enough that a cub can be left alone for too long. Most of the hunting here is the work of the lionesses, and out of 10 stalks, only about 2 end in a kill. So a lion mother has to leave her cubs more often, for longer, far more than anyone would want. These granite crevices did not appear in a single season. They have stood through thousands of years of erosion. Holding heat more slowly than sand and open ground. Cooler through the day, warmer through the night. That single property has made these rocks a familiar shelter for many generations of different lion prides. On a morning like this, the distance between safety and danger is measured in minutes. The African rock python is the largest snake in Africa and can grow beyond 5 meters. It does not hunt by sight. Along its upper lip, the python carries heat-sensing pits, sensitive enough to pick up the body heat of warm-blooded prey in complete darkness. With no venom, the python relies on a single grip, strong enough to take full control of small prey in a matter of seconds. It can lie still for hours, even for days, waiting for the right moment. Patience is the weapon, not speed. A granite crevice holds a steady temperature, which makes it ideal ground for a cold-blooded hunter to hide and wait. Most lion cubs do not survive their first year. They are simply too fragile against the predators of the savannah. And yet, the python had picked the wrong target. Against the defense of the mother and of the whole pride, the python will never be able to return to this ground again. The granite crevice has more than one resident. While the python uses the heat-holding rock to hunt without moving at all, the rock hyrax shelters in the narrowest cracks to escape the hardest sun of the day. The leopard takes the wider gaps to hide its young from lions and from hyenas. The safest shelter a cub has, and also be the most dangerous place it will ever enter. The threat here rarely comes from outside. It waits inside the very place chosen for hiding. After that ambush, the pride leaves the most dangerous ground behind. But the Luangwa dry season still has other problems waiting. Nowhere else in this region carries a higher leopard density than the ground around these rocks. Unlike the lion, the leopard hunts alone and shares its kill with no one. It hauls the carcass up into a tree, out of reach of hyenas and of lions, and feeds on it across several days. That tactic makes the leopard the harder threat to read. No roar in advance, no warning sign. A lion's eye is 8 times more sensitive to light than ours, because close to 75% of the hunting here happens in darkness. Night is the real working hour for the hunter and for the hunted. The leopard hunts against the alertness of its prey. But an alert pride always holds more eyes than any lone hunter can get past. That is why lions live in a pride and not alone. This is not only the capital of the leopard. Luangwa also holds one of the highest densities of Nile crocodile and hippo anywhere in Africa. The hippo defends its stretch of water with total commitment, ready to fight anything that moves into it, including a lion. The crocodile takes the water's edge for its ambush, the one place every species has to reach in order to drink, apex predators included. Together, they form another belt of danger that any lion cub wandering too far can walk straight into. A spotted hyena clan, led by a dominant female, can number more than 24 animals, with jaws strong enough to work through the largest bones. For a lion cub separated from the pride, that number is more dangerous than any single strike. The threat in Luangwa never comes from only one direction. If the pride cannot stay close at all times, what actually keeps a lion cub alive? The strength of the pride, or luck that has simply not run out yet? Do you think these small animals can survive to the end? Tell us in the comments, and stay with this survival journey as it unfolds. When the pride crosses open country in search of water, the gap between the first cub and the last can stretch beyond the line of sight of anyone in the group. And when the lionesses have to hunt, the cubs are often left under the watch of a single adult. In Luangwa, the danger does not always come from a predator. A Cape buffalo can weigh more than half a ton and moves in herds of several hundred. The lion is one of the few predators able to hunt them. And the buffalo remember that for a very long time. A buffalo herd usually does not run from a lion. It walks straight towards one. For a grown lion, a Cape buffalo is a risk to be weighed. For a lion cub, that weight is something no defense can answer. When the lionesses leave to hunt, the cubs depend on the protection of whoever is left in the pride. In theory, the male lion is the strongest layer of defense a pride can put in place. And yet, that defense only exists as long as the guard chooses to stay. And what is coming is not a single predator. By sheer luck, not one cub was left behind. But the defense the whole pride had bet on was not standing where it should have been. That is why no cub is ever left to a single protector. Inside a pride, the lionesses are usually related by blood. Sisters, mothers, and daughters, living across generations. And any lioness may nurse any cub in the group. Not only her own. That shared rearing is why a pride can hold together across generations, instead of breaking apart, like most temporary alliances in nature. Not the strength of one animal, and not speed either. It is the number of adults willing to stand their ground that decides whether a cub survives the dry season. Meanwhile, the pressure from outside the territory keeps building. Adult male lions usually travel in coalitions of 2 to 4 animals. Alone, a male has almost no chance of holding ground against a whole pride. A rival coalition has begun testing the edge of this territory. First with roars, and with scent left on the bushes, reaching further each day and closer each night. In areas as densely populated with lions as Luangwa, a ruling male coalition rarely holds its territory for more than a few years before a younger and larger coalition challenges it. When a strange male or a new coalition takes over a territory, they usually remove the cubs that are not their own. So the lionesses return to breeding condition sooner. That is why a quarter of the cubs born here never survive a period of territorial conflict. The longer a pride holds its territory, the more cubs reach adulthood. That is why territory is not simply ground. It is the survival odds of the next generation. Faced with that risk, some lionesses will mate with the very male threatening them, as a way of diverting attention and buying time for their cubs. A documented tactic, clever, reckless, but not always enough. When every delaying tactic has run out, the old territory is no longer safe enough, and one lioness cannot protect young males against a coalition closing in. She makes a rare choice. She leads her cubs away from the pride they know, towards a stronger pride far away. She is betting that more adult lions means more protection, even though that pride has never known these cubs. When every safe option is gone, where is the line between daring and desperation? For a lion pride, territory and bloodline are defended without exception. Two strangers, even young ones, are still read as a potential threat to that pride's own generation. There is no time for a strange pride to work out what these cubs intend. The instinct to defend territory always moves first. There is no safe distance for cubs in front of an adult lion defending her own ground. And in that moment, each cub can only fight for its own survival. Sadly, one cub does not get away in time. This is the exact price of a gamble the mother herself chose to take. The cub that survived spent a night in hiding, silent, before its mother found it again. The battle for survival in Luangwa makes no exceptions. Even the boldest choice a mother makes, however carefully weighed, is sometimes paid for with one of her own cubs. Even in loss, life in Luangwa does not stop. A vulture can locate a carcass from kilometers up. They are usually the first to signal the other scavengers. Within hours, one species after another arrives, closing another turn of the same food chain that the pride itself sits on top of. Even the animal at the top of that chain is not outside the rule. What is left from one pride's loss always becomes the beginning for another species. The pride keeps moving with the cubs it has left. There is no time to stop and recover. The Luangwa dry season waits for no one. Eight out of 10 lion cubs will not live past their second birthday. That figure is not an exaggeration. One cub escaped the rocks because of its mother and the pride. Others lay still under a tree while the buffalo herd passed. And one cub did not make it. Being born into a pride does not mean absolute protection. It means entering a fight that not everyone survives in the first round. The cubs alive today will face another dry season, another battle for survival, before they become the next generation of Luangwa. Next year's dry season will come, and that battle for survival will start over from the beginning. This time, who will learn fast enough to get through the first round? In the heart of East Africa, one of the most untouched and natural lands, bears the name Serengeti. In the language of the Maasai people, the name means endless plains, and nothing could fit the bill better than that title. Here, the grasslands stretch all the way to the horizon, where the wild roam follows a relentless rhythm of survival. Every year, millions of wildebeests, zebras, and gazelles embark on the great migration in search of greener pastures. They must cross rivers brimming with crocodiles, confront stealthy hunters lurking in the tall grass, and brave the uncompromising elements of the savannah. In a continuous test of endurance, where only the strongest can push through. Yet, the Serengeti does not belong solely to the plant eaters. It is also the realm of the great hunters. Lions patrol the plains in search of a meal. Leopards move noiselessly among the trees, while the fastest cat on earth unleashes breathtaking bursts of speed in the blink of an eye. At the same time, hyenas and jackals trail close behind, eagerly awaiting a chance to claim a feast of their own. As dusk falls and the sky erupts into radiant shades of gold and orange, the Serengeti reveals its true essence. It is a realm where nature calls the shots, where every day is a continuous test of spirit, and every moment is a masterpiece. This is the Serengeti, the untamed heart of Africa. Nestled in the heart of North Africa lies the Sahara Desert, one of the most spellbinding and challenging places on Earth. Spanning nearly 9.2 million square kilometers, the Sahara stretches across 11 countries, making it hands down the world's largest hot desert. Here, the sun bakes the earth, with temperatures soaring above 50 degrees Celsius. While at night, the mercury can drop below 0 degrees Celsius. Winds sculpt massive sand dunes, towering over 180 meters high, creating an ever-shifting sea of golden sand. Despite its severe arid climate, the Sahara still holds a surprising amount of life, where scorpions, snakes, and antelopes weather the storm of relentless heat, and Tuareg nomads have crossed these vast sands for centuries, guided only by the sun and the stars. Beneath the rolling dunes, fossils unveil a remarkable past. Millions of years ago, the Sahara was a vibrant green sanctuary, blessed with rivers, lakes, lush forests, and gigantic creatures. Today, the night sky here is among the clearest on the planet, where the Milky Way glows in all its brilliance, turning the Sahara into a land of striking contrasts, deep mystery, and beauty that is second to none. Straddling the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls forms the world's largest curtain of flowing water, stretching over 1.7 kilometers wide and plunging from a height of 108 meters. The sheer power of the Zambezi River creates a thunderous roar that is a true force to be reckoned with. While a veil of mist rising higher than 400 meters can be seen far and wide across the landscape. During the peak water season, more than 500 million liters of water tumble down every minute, shaping an everlasting rainbow across the deep gorge. Victoria Falls is not merely a sight for sore eyes. It also draws adventurous souls eager to push the envelope. At the famous Devil's Pool, swimming right along the brink of the abyss. Meanwhile, wild nature is alive and kicking all around, with elephants, hippos, and crocodiles making their home along the river. All inspiring, breathtaking, and utterly unforgettable. Victoria Falls stands second to none among the greatest natural treasures of Africa. Nestled in the heart of the Indian Ocean, and just a few kilometers off the coast of Tanzania, lies Zanzibar, an archipelago blessed with heavenly beaches, crystal clear waters, and a rich history. Fine, powdery white sand beaches stand in striking contrast to the captivating blue of the ocean, where thriving coral reefs breathe life into a diverse marine ecosystem, filled with sea turtles, dolphins, and countless colorful fish. Zanzibar is home to Stone Town, with its maze of narrow alleyways, filled with ancient palaces, and unique local markets, richly influenced by Arab, Persian, and European cultures. Nicknamed the Spice Island, Zanzibar was once the heart and soul of trade for cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Today, this place is the sweet spot for anyone seeking serenity, adventure, and culture seamlessly blended into one. With golden sunsets and the vast, open ocean, Zanzibar stands as a hidden gem, one of Africa's most cherished secrets. In the northeastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, a vast green landscape stretching as far as the eye can see, across millions of square kilometers, supports one of the richest and most mysterious ecosystems on the planet, known as the Congo rainforest. As the second largest tropical rainforest on Earth, it spans across 6 countries and stands as one of the last remaining pristine wildernesses left untouched. The Congo rainforest plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of our planet, storing billions of tons of carbon and keeping the global climate on an even keel. Vast, wild, and filled with secrets, the Congo rainforest is a place where time seems to stand still, and life pulses through every single leaf, every flowing river, and every sound of the deep woods. In the heart of Morocco, where the desert meets the majestic Atlas Mountains, rises Marrakech, a vibrant city steeped in rich history, known far and wide as the Red City. Narrow alleyways, bustling markets, and breathtaking architecture whisk travelers away into a world of rich colors, fragrant aromas, and age-old traditions. Right at its center, the legendary Jemaa El Fna Square comes alive as dusk settles in, featuring dancers, musicians, snake charmers, and the irresistible fragrance of spices. Within the bustling souks, vibrant rugs, handcrafted jewelry, and unique perfumes turned every corner into a journey. The Majoral Garden and ancient palaces offer serene moments of peace between tradition and modernity, turning Marrakech into an alluring invitation that is simply hard to pass up. Spanning an area of nearly 20,000 square kilometers, Kruger National Park is South Africa's largest animal sanctuary, where nature calls the shots. Vast savannas, winding rivers, and forests set a magnificent stage, where predators give chase to their prey. Migrating herds move across the landscape, and unique birds brighten up the open skies. It stands as one of the best places in the world to set out on a safari tour, offering a personal encounter with the wild in its purest form. Kruger is an experience that is truly one of a kind, where Africa reveals its grand majesty and beauty in every fine detail. Nestled out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the volcanic archipelago of Cabo Verde enchants travelers with breathtaking scenery and a vibrant culture. Made up of 10 distinct islands, this small nation offers the best of both worlds by blending soaring mountain peaks, arid desert stretches, and an endless blue ocean. The peak of Pico de Fogo reaches majestically up toward the sky, while on the islands of Sal and Boa Vista, sweeping sand dunes and crystal-clear waters create a truly idyllic landscape. The heart of Cabo Verdean culture is woven together with the soulful melodies of Morna and Caladera music, reflecting centuries of history and a rich blend of African and European traditions, creating a place where nature and heritage are a match made in heaven. Rising majestically at an elevation of 5,895 meters, Mount Kilimanjaro stands head and shoulders above the Tanzanian landscape and reigns as the highest mountain in Africa. This massive mountain is more than just a snow-capped summit, for its slopes are home to one of the most diverse ecosystems on the entire continent. From its base all the way to the summit, Kilimanjaro journeys through 5 distinct ecological zones, ranging from dense tropical rainforests that harbor elephants and leopards, all the way to alpine meadows and shimmering glaciers. Mist and clouds shroud the dense vegetation, where rare monkeys and birds find a safe haven. Nestled along the banks of the Nile River stand the pyramids of Giza, one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Constructed over 4,500 years ago, these massive architectural marvels stand the test of time and highlight the golden era of ancient Egypt. The Pyramid of Khufu, also known as Cheops, is the largest structure, reaching 146 meters in height, and stood as the tallest man-made structure in the world for thousands of years. Alongside it, the pyramids of Khafre and Menkaure complete this majestic complex, under the watchful care of the mysterious Sphinx. The exact method used to build these wonders remains a tough nut to crack to this day. Yet, their grandeur continues to fascinate the world, opening a gateway to a glorious past where kings were revered as gods, and the desert keeps its eternal secrets under lock and key. Nestled in the heart of the Indian Ocean, Seychelles is an archipelago made up of 115 islands that easily steal your heart. Seychelles preserves a magical ecosystem where these islands serve as home to rare species of birds and giant tortoises that can live for over 150 years. The marine ecosystem here also thrives in all its glory, teeming with sea turtles, stingrays, and vibrant coral reefs. Seychelles is a true paradise, where time seems to stand still, and nature puts its complete grandeur on display in a way that is truly out of this world. Located in southwestern Africa lies the Namib Desert, one of the oldest deserts on Earth, dating back over 55 million years. The surreal landscape here is dominated by massive sand dunes, towering up to 325 meters high. Among them, Sossus Flay, with its distinct reddish-orange sands and weathered, fossilized trees, looks like something out of this world. Despite the challenging conditions, life continues to hang tough as gemsbok antelopes, ostriches, and jackals make their way across the dunes, while insects adapt to the intense heat with ease. Along the coastline, the mysterious area known as the Skeleton Coast holds countless historic shipwrecks shrouded in mist. The Namib Desert is a natural wonder that is second to none, a place where time appears frozen in place, and the grandeur of Mother Nature shines through in every grain of sand. Isolated out in the Indian Ocean, Madagascar is a world unto itself. Nature has forged truly unique forms of life, as over 90% of the living creatures found here do not exist anywhere else on Earth. The Avenue of the Baobabs takes your breath away, with colossal baobab trees that are over 800 years old. These towering giants serve as iconic symbols of the island and as silent witnesses to the passage of time. Deep in the rainforest, lemurs swing through the branches, chameleons shift their colors endlessly, and rare birds fill the air with mysterious songs. Madagascar is a true sanctuary of biodiversity, and a genuine living laboratory of evolution, where life adapts and thrives in ways that are in a league of their own. The African savanna has no law of fairness. Only 3 laws every survivor must know. The law of boundaries. Know exactly where your power ends and know when that boundary is being tested. The Mara River, Kenya, stretching over 400 kilometers, a natural boundary between the grasslands and the riverine zone. The most dangerous in Africa. Two apex predators sharing the same ecosystem. The law of numbers. The strongest individual still falls before an organized collective. Akagera, Rwanda. 2 decades without a roar, without the scent of danger. Prey in this region had 20 years to thrive, without predator pressure. And the fear reflex does not return on its own when lions come back. The law of breakthrough. Those who have not yet accumulated enough failures are sometimes the first to break the limit. Selinda Spillway, Botswana. The smallest lion pride in the region, about to face what no one dared touch. 3 laws, 1 species. African lion has written all 3 laws in blood and passed that knowledge across generations. Nile crocodile carries over 70 teeth, regrowing throughout its lifetime and never dulling. A survival weapon in perpetual renewal. The tail of the Nile crocodile, 6 meters, accounts for nearly half the body length, generating enough thrust to launch the entire body clear of the water in under a second. Their bite force reaches 2,000 kilograms, the strongest of any living animal, enough to crush the femur of an adult buffalo in a single snap. Across thousands of years of coexistence on the Mara, that bite force has never been turned on the African lion. Among the big cats, evolution defaults to solitude. Tiger, leopard, cheetah all operate alone. Only the lion does not. Living in prides is not the African lion's first choice, but the ecosystem demands collective strength. The pride enables taking down prey larger than any single individual could handle and distributes risk against enemies no individual could face alone. These 2 species have met at the Mara River across thousands of years. The Nile crocodile is fully capable of attacking the African lion. But here, that boundary has never been broken. Both species learn to avoid costly conflict by dividing their operational space. Then migration season arrives. 400,000 wildebeest pour into the Mara River at once. The waterway becomes a killing ground. Boundaries are erased by the chaos of prey. Hundreds of thousands of wildebeest are a signal no apex predator can ignore. For every apex predator in the region, Nile crocodile and African lion converge at the same point, at the same moment. Two apex predators, same killing ground, less than 20 meters apart. Nile crocodile handles its prey underwater. African lion handles its prey on land. Neither looks toward the other. Not one conflict. That is the law of boundaries. The truly powerful need not prove themselves stronger than another powerful force. They need only know where the boundary lies and hold it. Cheetah does not live in prides. That is the rule. Cheetah operates alone. Its own territory, its own prey. No cooperation with any other individual. Kasaroo is the exception to that rule. A mother and 5 offspring, 3 adults and 2 younger males. An extraordinary number. For a species whose long-term bonds exist only with cubs during the rearing phase. Kasaroo does not operate by the standard rules of cheetah behavior. She operates by the principle of force multiplication. Coordinated strength transforms the speed of 1 into the effectiveness of 5. Cheetah reaches 100 kilometers per hour in seconds, the fastest land mammal on Earth. But that speed is not an absolute weapon. 20 to 30 seconds after reaching maximum speed, cheetah's body temperature rises to a physiologically dangerous threshold. It must stop, whether prey is still running or already exhausted. This is an unbreakable physical limit. The fastest engine always generates the most heat. A solitary cheetah must sprint at full force and bring down prey before body temperature crosses the dangerous physiological threshold. Kasaroo does not sprint at full force from the start. She traps. Kasaru deploys in a three-point pattern. One applies direct pressure, 3 close-off escape routes, 1 waits at the position prey most often runs to. Thompson's gazelle cannot leap like impala, but zigzags at high speed and changes direction at the exact moment cheetah accelerates, the moment when every directional change doubles heat expenditure. The zigzag is not calculated, only reflex, but a reflex precisely countering how cheetah hunts. Kasaru eliminates space and escape directions before the sprint begins. Kasaru and her 5 offspring achieve a success rate approaching 50%, unmatched by any predator on the Mara grasslands. Not because they are the fastest, but because they know the limits of speed and use tactics to compensate for that limit. Every pause is not failure. It is deliberate energy conservation, avoiding sprinting to the dangerous heat threshold when the kill opportunity is not high enough. The Mara ecosystem does not run on one species, controlling everything. It runs on stratification. The Mara ecosystem is stratified by evolutionary pressure. Nile crocodile owns the water. African lion controls open land by day. Cheetah operates in open light. Leopard owns the darkness. Each stratum is held not by treaty, but by the cost of encroaching in the wrong place. This is why the Mara ecosystem is stable, not because the strongest wins, but because each species knows which stratum it belongs. Akagera is savanna mixed with wetland, entirely different from the dry Mara grasslands. Plains, zebra and reedbuck are the common prey here. Nile crocodile is also present in the Akagera lake zone, an additional variable the new pride had never encountered. Leading them was an 1-year-old lioness who had led a pride successfully in South Africa. Her name was Ineza. Akagera did not welcome Ineza. Akagera had its own laws older than any lion in the new pride. In 2015, 17 lions left South Africa on a 2,500-kilometer journey. Their ultimate objective was to restore the predator ecosystem at Akagera, a land where lions had completely disappeared across decades of conflict and poaching. 20 years without an apex predator does not mean 20 years of weakened prey. Sometimes it means 20 years of living free of fear, including death itself. African buffalo, each one weighs 800 kilograms. Horns fused into a shield harder than bone. The boss, structure protecting the neck and head from powerful impacts. This shield is strong enough to protect the buffalo from a direct vehicle impact. That bone shield integrates direct defense. Every bite aimed at the neck and head is neutralized before reaching the skin. At first, Ineza primarily hunted familiar prey, like plains zebra and reedbuck in Akagera. Even so, African buffalo remained the largest caloric source. They concentrate near water sources in the dry season. And they knew no fear. An adult male in the Serengeti would flee at the sight of a lion. That reflex is a survival mechanism, built over many years and many generations. African buffalo in Akagera did not have that reflex. The Akagera buffalo herd had not lost its survival reflex. They had replaced it with something more effective. When they scented lion for the first time in 20 years, their reflex was not run. Their reflex was turn back. Her cubs watched from behind. Every decision Ineza made was written directly into the behavioral memory of her child's. Failure was not just one missed meal, but a wrong lesson stored across generations. No one was injured. No one died. No prey taken. 20 years of collective behavioral evolution, compressed into 90 seconds. The apex predator lost every advantage. A lion cannot attack hundreds of opponents at once. Every direction of attack is a direction to be struck from behind. A united collective overwhelms a lone apex predator. This is the law of numbers. Ineza and her pride had to relearn from the start. Isolate a lone buffalo first, then attack and never approach while the herd remains united. Ineza learned that through direct experience at Akagera from buffalo, who had replaced fear with collective unity. The paradox of reintroduction is that when a predator returns after 20 years, prey does not weaken. Prey grows stronger because 20 years without predator pressure allowed the herd to grow large enough and united enough. Before the confrontation with buffalo, Akagera had given Ineza another lesson. That lesson did not come from large prey, but from the smallest creature on the grassland. Warthog. This prey weighs 80 kilograms, 1/10 of a buffalo, slower than cheetah, without the numbers of a buffalo herd. Yet warthog survives in an ecosystem where every apex predator targets them, and the reason is not strength or speed. Warthog has scent glands on its face and neck, detecting predators by scent. On the Akagera grassland, the wind frequently shifts. Warthog always receives the danger signal before the lion enters visual range. This is why lion's ambush tactic, which relies on visual surprise, fails completely against warthog in open terrain. Selinda Spillway, Botswana. More than a century of hunting had erased lion from the landscape. No roar, no trace, silence that stretched too long. Then the first two lionesses were released. they began to build. Now, the Cylinder Pride had 5 members. Zero led the sub-adult coalition. None of them had ever killed prey larger than an impala. Dry season, Cylinder spillway shifts with the water season. When water rises, land fractures into isolated islands, and familiar prey retreats in every direction. The dry season withdraws each species by its own biological logic. Wildebeest follow water sources south. Impala and reedbuck retreat into the swamp. Terrain absolutely disadvantageous for lion hunting. Plains zebra fast enough to exhaust the young lion pride, not yet skilled in coordinating with each other. African elephant carries an attack cost threshold beyond the capacity of any lion pride with fewer than 8 adults. Large and accessible prey were gone. What remained on the isolated islands of Cylinder? Hippo. 1.5 tons, jaws wider than a meter when fully open, strong enough to kill an adult Nile crocodile in a single snap. Able to stay submerged for 5 minutes without breathing, surfacing each night to graze 40 kilograms of vegetation. Hippo responds with maximum force to anything intruding on their water territory, without warning, without escalation, only immediate full-force response. No adult lion had ever successfully attacked a hippo, alone or in a full pride. But here is the thing about Zero and the coalition. They were sub-adults, had not yet accumulated enough failures, had not yet built the avoidance reflex that adult lions build through repeated direct encounters. Night at Cylinder Spillway. One hippo makes a giant mistake. Tonight, they conquered their fears and opened the window of knowledge. They realize they can take down Hippo. The fall of the first hippopotamus opened a window of knowledge, not just for the 5 lions that night, but for the entire Cylinder Pride. This is how evolution unfolds in real time. The first 2 lionesses released into Cylinder laid the foundation. Zero and the coalition built the next level. From nothing to a pride that knows how to do what no one ever could. That is the law of breakthrough. 3 locations, 3 encounters, 3 sets of laws. The law of boundaries. Jabari and the Mara pride do not clash with the Nile crocodile. Not because they lack the strength, but because they know the exact limits of their power and hold the line. 2 apex predators coexist within an ecosystem stable for thousands of years. The boundary between Jabari and the crocodile remains firm, because both have learned enough to no longer need to push that boundary. The law of the majority. Ineza and her cub made it through the buffalo encirclement without coming out on top in that confrontation. But escaping brought home the most vital lesson she ever learned at Akagera, which is that a united herd is off limits. The Akagera pride's behavior shifted, meaning they would never confront a united buffalo herd and always look to isolate a single individual before making a move. Setbacks were systematized into knowledge, and that knowledge was passed down through observation, from mothers to the new generation. Ineza gave birth to 4 cubs. Those 4 cubs observed how their mother adjusted her tactics. They will never confront a buffalo herd because they watched their mother learn and adapt. The law of breakthrough. Sero and his coalition had not yet accumulated enough setbacks with hippopotamuses to build an avoidance reflex. That is why they succeeded in taking them down. From the first 2 lionesses released into Celinda, the pride now stands at over 60 individuals. Through the first 14 months, the pride has kept every single cub safe. This is the very proof. The law of breakthrough is no flash in the pan, but a foundation built on skills accumulated through generations. The African savanna is not fair, never has been. Yet it operates under a code that no species created, but everyone must learn. Jabari is still patrolling the Mara River banks. The boundary with the Nile crocodile remains, nameless but held firm. That boundary is more durable than any treaty because it is carved by evolutionary pressure, not by conscious decision. One African buffalo is no stronger than one African lion. But 200 is always greater than 1 in every ecosystem at all times. No species calls the shots. Everyone just has to learn. 3 laws are written in nature's clearest language, woven from sacrifice and wisdom, passed down from one generation to the next. Sheer strength alone does not cut it on the savanna. The savanna rewards those who learn and know how to pass on what they have mastered. You have just witnessed the 3 laws of the African savanna, the law of boundaries. Kenya's Mara River, where the African lion and the Nile crocodile share hunting grounds without moving against each other, because both know exactly where the line is drawn. The law of the majority. Akagera, Rwanda, where 200 African buffaloes, surrounded and penned in a lioness and her cub, because an organized collective outmatches any single apex predator. The law of breakthrough. Celinda, Botswana, where 5 young lions did what no one thought possible. Because they lacked the setbacks to make them hesitate. 3 lands, 3 laws, 1 species records it all. Through sacrifice and wisdom across generations. This is the African savanna. This is where the journey of survival unfolds, driven by knowledge, accumulated and passed down through every generation. Survival of the fittest, by Darwin's true definition, is not about the strongest making it through. It is about the most adaptable, the fastest learner, the one who passes the torch to the next generation. If this episode showed you something you have never seen before, share it right away. Because the African savanna writes these laws every single day, and very few are watching. Subscribe so you do not miss the next full episode. The savanna is far from closing the book. The savanna predators are not done with their lessons. Dawn had just touched the tips of the acacia trees across the savanna. But beneath the amber sky, as it darkened, the hunt had already begun. In the tall grass to the west, golden shadows moved, pressing forward without making a single sound. The lionesses were not as powerful as the males, but they were more patient, more rhythmically coordinated, and they understood a truth governing all life on the savanna. Patience is the very line that determines whether the outcome is a full feast or a prolonged hunger. Their pride coordination was so perfect there was not a single crack. One lioness lowered herself, belly pressed flat against the ground. Watching and waiting, another moved as a decoy, spreading wide on both flanks, just enough to draw a young animal. Into a moment of curiosity, dropping its guard. Watch this. The lead lioness burst out of the tall grass. What followed were a few seconds of pure chaos. Dust exploded in a blinding cloud. Roars tore through the silence. The entire pride surged in. Tearing at their prize, the young hippo fell. Before the hunt had begun, one creature had been silently watching everything from start to finish. On the branches of the trees, a fortress, darkness beyond the reach of any lion, a troop of baboons had long been awake. Their eyes swept across the savanna from above. The alpha male, at over 80 pounds, around 36 kilograms, his muscles rippling, stood on the highest rock outcrop. His canines were as long as those of a leopard. Yet the canines were not his most formidable weapon. Intelligence was what was truly extraordinary. Facial recognition, establishing political alliances, social strategies so sophisticated that scientists have called baboons creatures of Machiavellian intelligence, a Machiavellian mind. They possess intelligence equivalent to that of a human 3-year-old. A sharp bark split the dawn. It was the alarm call reserved exclusively for lions. Baboons have distinct alarm calls, one for leopard, another for eagle, and yet another for snake. Each predator is a unique acoustic frequency. The entire savanna instantly listens. Antelope stop grazing. Ostriches raise their heads. Zebras rotate their ears. A cascade effect spreads. A single call activates. Thousands of survival reflexes rippling across the grasslands. When baboons issue an alarm call, no creature on the ground dares ignore it. But today, the warning arrived too late for the oryx herd to the west. They had fallen beneath the claws of lions. A few hundred meters away, a herd of African ostriches was foraging right next to another antelope herd. This group was significantly safer. The closeness between these two species was no coincidence. This was a sensory alliance, a silent pact honed by evolution over millions of years. The ostrich possesses eyes up to 5 centimeters in diameter and remarkably larger than its own brain. The largest eyes of any land animal on Earth, holding a Guinness World Record. From its elevated vantage point at nearly 2.7 meters, the ostrich functions as a mobile watchtower of the savanna. Each eye is 5 times more acute than the human eye, scanning every smallest movement across the vast grasslands. But eyes larger than the brain means they see everything but comprehend very little. Ostrich detects movement, but cannot analyze the nature of the threat. Reaching maximum speed of nearly 72 kilometers per hour, the fastest 2-legged creature, with great strides, yet fleeing remains their last resort. Together, they form a surveillance network through which no frequency, no movement can pass undetected. And there is a myth that people still firmly believe that ostriches bury their heads in sand. That is the oldest fabrication in all of natural history. They lower their heads to the ground only to reduce their profile, to avoid detection, or to turn eggs inside the nest. But the sounds that mark sovereignty are also an invitation to challenge. A howl echoed from far away, then a wild, spine-chilling laughter followed. A sound no one can ever forget. A piercing shriek was rising. A clan of spotted hyenas was converging from every direction. The clan was led by the largest female. In an absolutely matriarchal society, this is what most people get wrong. Spotted hyenas are not scavengers. They hunt 60 to 95% of their own food. The most enduringly efficient hunters across all of Africa. And here is the more astonishing truth. It is lions that regularly steal food from hyenas, not the other way around. Data from the Ngorongoro Hyena Project, through decades of observation, has confirmed this. But today, the hyena clan wanted to reclaim what was theirs. They surrounded a male lion feeding on a carcass. The male lion stood. A muscle mass of around 181 kilograms dominated them completely in physical form. The hyenas understood one law of survival: never confront a healthy male lion head-on, regardless of how large their numbers. Their tactic was harassment and patience. The hyena clan surged in within seconds, powerful jaws cracking bone, stripping the carcass clean, clearing every last scrap in just a few short minutes. On the savannah, nothing is wasted. Patience had defeated raw strength. At least for today. The hyena clan finished their meal. Bones remained shattered where they lay. The savannah fell silent once more. But the ground beneath it did not. A seismic tremor moved through the earth, at a frequency below the threshold of human hearing. Not an earthquake, not thunder. It was the call of the African elephant. The elephant herd crossed the grassland, each step pressing over 6 tons into the earth. Generating seismic waves that travel over 16 kilometers through rock and soil. The elephant's feet receive these vibrations. Seismic communication is a language that took humans decades to discover. Leading the elephant herd was the oldest female, the matriarch, the living memory of an entire family. Like the hyenas, elephant society follows strict matriarchal order. But unlike the hyenas, power here does not originate from canines or claws, but from memory. The matriarch remembers every water source, every migration route, every drought that lasted 60 years ago. In years of devastating drought, the survival of the entire herd depends entirely on the memory of this single individual. And the trunk is perhaps the most extraordinary organ that evolution has ever created, containing over 40,000 muscle bundles within a single structure. The entire human body possesses only 640 muscles. The elephant herd passed through, and the savannah transformed in the most literal sense of the word. They knocked down trees, clearing pathways, digging waterholes that dozens of other species depend on. The greatest architects of Africa, no living creature dares block their path, not even the lion, which dozens of other species depend upon. The greatest architects of Africa. Not a single living creature dares block their path, not even a lion. On the savannah, every dawn is a new battle. Every creature is simultaneously a weapon and a target, both hunter and prey.
In the savannah, when canines are revealed, it serves as an official declaration of conflict. Baboons employ a visual language designed to intimidate, repeatedly raising brows to flash the white skin around the eyes signals a high-level alert. This is followed immediately by a tension yawn. As the mouth opens wide, the male showcases his arsenal of defense. This is a psychological confrontation. Long, sharp canines are displayed as a reminder of the consequences for any intrusion. An individual baboon is a true warrior. Yet when facing predators, their rules for staying safe shift. Unity becomes a powerful collective advantage. Dominant males typically choose to stand their ground directly. They form a delegation using mobbing tactics to surround the opponent. While females and young ones retreat to natural strongholds like steep cliffs, adult males form a living shield. They are prepared to drive out intruders from their territory using collective strength. In the world of the baboon, solidarity is the essential catalyst. What behavior fosters an emotional bond more than keeping a coat clean? Baboons view this care as one of their most vital daily tasks. Grooming is more than just basic hygiene. It facilitates the release of oxytocin. In the realm of elite predators, the leopard is a gifted specter, yet it remains in the shadow of a tyrant. The lion harbors an instinctive disdain for this spotted feline, beyond simply claiming a catch. The lion seeks to completely displace its competitor, a stern necessity to uphold the royal order. To manage this, the leopard takes full advantage of its climbing prowess. Hauling a catch twice its own weight into the high canopy is the only way to safeguard its hard work. However, this boundary of safety is slowly disappearing. Persistent lionesses are willing to challenge gravity, scaling heights not meant for them to secure a meal. These encounters over resources occur right within the foliage, where there is no room for error. These two rivals are forced to share the same ground as they pursue identical resources. The leopard does not vacate the lion's territory. To do so would mean walking away from the most abundant grounds. Instead, they remain and continue their work, but always keep a safe distance. Once this distance closes, the leopard's survival drive triggers an immediate retreat. Thick vegetation and climbing skills are its final lifelines. It must live like a fugitive in its own homeland. While its cleverness helps it endure, it can never truly hold all the cards when the lion is involved. To understand why a crafty spectre like the leopard must step aside, we must look deeper at the greatest creature forged by the savannah's sun and wind. One that rules not only through power, but through a landscape of fear covering every creature. It is time to meet the king. The sophisticated information processor hidden beneath their coarse fur. Cognitive abilities are on par with those of the great apes. Abstract thinking helps them break reality into logical pieces. Acoustic evidence confirms they can produce 5 basic vowels similar to humans. This is the biological foundation for a rudimentary language. They possess over 30 distinct vocalizations, combined with gestures and facial expressions to create a multi-layered communication system. The lion has no need for constant action to demonstrate its authority. When the king makes an appearance, all previous rules of survival are set aside. For the leopard, existence is a high-stakes game of measuring distance. When resources are plenty, the leopard can easily stay out of sight, avoiding any friction with the lion pride. However, as lion numbers grow, the leopard's living space begins feeling the pinch. Competitive pressure turns every watering hole and canopy into a point of unavoidable tension. The connection with the baboon reveals another level of biological influence. The lion rules this primate legion through a constant landscape of fear. The king rarely spends energy pursuing these clever creatures for hours on end. Merely its scent and deep roar are enough to limit population growth and reshape the entire foraging routine of the baboon troop. Lionesses are the premier female hunters of the open plains. Alongside their pride, they have achieved remarkable milestones. Today, this young lady will demonstrate her personal skill. An impala. A small-scale target, yet one that is not easily secured. The lioness understands the situation. In the natural world, this is usually the end of the road, yet here, a strange instinctive shift occurs. Rather than a small snack, the frail infant becomes the focus of a misplaced maternal drive. 2 other male lions have arrived. Curious young males. But the lioness suddenly turns assertive. She refuses to let the 2 males take the small baboon. What does this mean? Does she want to protect the child? Or does she simply wish to keep it as a possession? At this moment, on a nearby tree, a savior has arrived. In Botswana, the Veil of Night is the most faithful ally of this elite seeker. While primates are hindered by poor low-light vision, the leopard sees a world that is vivid and clear. The leopard never chooses to engage aggressive alpha males directly. Its cleverness lies in the careful selection of a target. Those who are most exposed are always within its focus. The little ones, the adolescents, and particularly the adult females. Its ability to utilize superior sight transforms an opponent's stronghold into a confined space with no escape. The encounter usually happens in the blink of an eye. Yet this is merely the tip of the iceberg in a complex history of rivalry between these two savanna opposites. A quiet dominance that carries immense weight. Even the craftiest baboons must fall in line with the order the lion establishes. Those in a lesser position will always have to navigate life according to the rules of those in charge. Under the sweltering sun of the African plains, another drama of survival unfolds. Unlike stealthy nighttime pursuits, lions have developed a bold strategy to deal with their most vigilant rivals, the Chakma baboon troop. Lions know that making a move during the day is a gamble. The troop has hundreds of watchful eyes, and lead males possess canines even longer than a lion's, ready to fight to the end to protect the group. But lions possess a weapon more potent than sheer strength, the manipulation of fear. The encounter begins not with a roar, but with a sudden, decisive strike. The moment the lioness emerges from the brush, the baboon's world shatters. Her approach is not about stealth, but about absolute chaos. She doesn't target a specific individual initially. She simply lunges into the center of the troop, creating a whirlwind of panic. Sharp alarm calls ring out from every direction, but this time it's not a rallying cry, but a scream of distress. The entire legion immediately moves to a state of high alert, keeping a weather eye on the shadows. The largest males take up key positions, ready for an uncompromising standoff. A potential target is quite different from a helpless one. There is strength in numbers, turning these primates into a formidable collective. Mobbing tactics create a screaming circle that can break the will of even the most solitary seeker. The leopard understands the cost of being reckless. An adult male baboon possesses canines as long as those of a lion. In direct confrontations, their ferocity can result in critical outcomes. Field records of baboons neutralizing leopards to protect the troop testify to their formidable counter-ability. It shields both mother and infant from unwanted attention and allows the mother a few precious hours of rest before the troop moves on at daybreak. The mother skillfully climbs to the most secluded branches, taking no chances with her privacy. A young female watches this birth with anticipation, but she must give them space. Bringing life into the world is a private affair. Since she is perched in the trees, soft grass cannot cradle the infant like it does for a gazelle. The mother's hands serve as the only safety net allowed. Throughout the delivery, the mother uses her large hands with incredible care. Her little one has arrived. However, the infant is soaking wet, and the night sky, along with the wind, might cause it to succumb to the chill. The mother cradles her precious child close to her chest. The infant will feel the warmth of its mother throughout the night, until the sun rises to dry the thin fur and tiny flushed face. But in Ruaha National Park, Tanzania, one of the most demanding landscapes on the planet, the survival blueprint between lions and baboons has shifted remarkably. When the dry season descends, the Ruaha River is reduced to mere muddy pools. Resources grow scarce, and survival pressure pushes creatures into situations unheard of in textbooks. Here, nature filmmakers have observed a phenomenon that completely reshapes our understanding of the link between seeker and target. A mutual ceasefire between lions and baboons. Under normal circumstances, baboons serve as the savanna's sirens. Yet at Ruaha, a temporary symbiotic strategy has taken root. As a lion pride begins to close in on large targets like buffalo or kudu, The baboons watching from above choose not to release their usual sharp warning barks, opting instead for complete silence. This is a sophisticated cost-benefit calculation of primate intellect. Compared to their vocal primate rivals, this feline stands at a completely different end of the spectrum. Solitude is not a limitation, but rather its ultimate advantage. An adult leopard weighs only about 60 to 70 kilograms, but every gram of its frame is fine-tuned for explosive power. This cat possesses a natural climbing prowess and a pulling force that far outweighs its own physical mass. The leopard is a specialist in making the most of even the slightest oversight by others. It maintains the upper hand through sheer physical capability and strategic maneuvers. The dark continent serves as the home turf for 6 baboon subspecies. Each species acts as a strategic player in a demanding ecosystem. Olive baboons call the shots across the equator with overwhelming numbers. Chacmas, muscular heavyweights weighing 45 kilograms, stand watch over the south. Guineas wear the crimson colors of West Africa. Modern research has officially brought the Kinda baboon out of the shadows, giving them their due as a distinct entity, small but incredibly sharp. In the northeast, hamadryas rule the limestone cliffs with a strict pecking order. Their prowess is not built on muscle alone, it is the discipline of a mobile fortress. The bonds between grandmothers, mothers, and sisters are thick as thieves, determining rank and power within the troop. However, warmth is not limited to blood relatives. Researchers have documented unique friendships between unrelated males and females. In these non-sexual relationships, the male acts as a devoted guardian, shielding the female and her offspring from bullies. In return, the female spends hours tending to her companion's coat. Before any engagement, they deploy a haunting display of psychological maneuvers, repeatedly raising brows to reveal pale eyelids. Rapid blinking creates a visual signal designed to disorient. This is a warning of a war of attrition where the lone party often stands to lose much more. Yet the leopard found success. Those accustomed to sunlight could not outsmart the cunning seeker. It quickly carries the prize away while the troop remains in disarray. It will enjoy this meal in peace. As a promising seeker, she is exceptionally careful when moving closer. Success is almost in her grasp. However, an interloper appears, a vocal presence. The pursuit concludes without a result, so it is back to the drawing board for her. The lioness will certainly keep this moment on her radar. This relationship defines the identity of both species. Data from Botswana reveals that the coordination between leopards and lions accounts for roughly 9% of the annual loss in the Chacma baboon population. Of those, 50% of the targets are adult females, the most vital link for continuity. The male paired with the mother baboon takes this chance to rescue the little one. The young baboon needs the troop to thrive in the best environment. But being in the arms of a lioness will be an experience that is one for the books. Biologists call this a conflict of instincts. In a rare instance, maternal hormones overshadow hunger, creating a fragile coexistence that is truly breathtaking. Yet, that small moment cannot override ingrained nature. The relationship between these two species is destined to remain tense until one side gives in. In the wild, this translates to the final silence. Baboon empathy even reaches the edge of sorrow. When a close member passes away, the loss hits home for the entire troop. Mothers who lose their young often carry them for days or even weeks in a desperate attempt to hold on to life. During this time, their stress hormone levels are remarkably similar to the state of depression in humans. A troop is a multi-layered social structure where unity is the name of the game. Their menu is a list without limits. They are extreme survivalists when it comes to food. Succulent roots, protein-rich insects, even young antelopes secured from within the brush. They thrive through careful calculation. Their bold presence in the heart of the savannah proves one truth: intellect is the ultimate asset. Every survival privilege is earned by sharp, calculating minds. Baboon intellect resides in a scream of distress. Hundreds of baboons scatter, scrambling up the tallest acacia branches or sprinting frantically across the ground. In the heat of the moment, the troop's tight-knit organization is neutralized. Panic causes them to lose their ability to coordinate. That is precisely when the lioness chooses her mark. She simply waits for a misstep. The chaos recedes, giving way to a profound silence. On this savannah, only instinct and decisiveness determine who makes it through. After the lioness's lightning strike, a mother baboon has fallen as the seeker prepares to enjoy its meal. A tiny life, only a few weeks old, trembles as it emerges from the late mother's fur. The baboon's journey for survival continues through an instinctive and tactical reproductive process. When a female enters her fertile window, the skin around her rump swells and turns a bright crimson, a visual signal that is plain as day to the males in the troop. Following a successful pairing, the mother embarks on a pregnancy journey lasting 6 months. They can acquire orthographic processing skills. These individuals distinguish between real words and meaningless characters, a fundamental ability once considered a human privilege. Within baboon society, truth is a flexible concept. They are masters of Machiavellian tactics, a game of calculated maneuvers and deception. Offspring of higher-ranking females may exert dominance over those from lower status lineages. The underdog also knows how to pull the wool over their eyes with false alarms. A warning bark for a non-existent threat sends the entire troop into a state of high alert. During that brief chaos, the trickster calmly claims the precious resources. To thrive, each individual must know the ropes of a complex relationship network. Who stands as an ally? Who remains a rival? Who belongs to whom? Why would baboons lend a hand to their long-standing rivals? The answer lies in a strategic give and take. If the baboons raise the alarm, the lion's effort will be spoiled. A hungry lion pride represents a direct and constant presence. They will not move on but will pivot to a more accessible, though demanding target, the baboon troop itself. Conversely, if the baboons stay quiet and allow the lion to secure a large prize, a vast energy source is provided to the seeker. To counter this sudden seeker, baboons must transform treetops or steep granite cliffs into strongholds. But this does not deter the leopard. The superior night vision of this large cat faces few obstacles. Therefore, as darkness falls, their early warning system switches to a specific frequency reserved for the leopard. This is a public announcement. They utilize tools with practical ease. Stones become hammers to open hard shells or neutralize a scorpion's sting. This behavioral flexibility makes them one of the most evolutionarily successful primates. A perfect blend of problem-solving skills and biological resilience. Yet, a genius brain is only half the story. The newborn enters the world with a distinct feature. This is not a random act of evolution. This youthful coat is the golden ticket to safety, signaling to the entire troop, "I am a little one, please keep me safe." Even the most assertive members of the group often show patience and tenderness when they see a tiny soul in this small black coat. This quiet pact is proof of a single truth. In the depths of struggle, intellect and compromise are often sharper than canines or claws. The savannah is not just about roars and cries, but also about calculated silences, where rivals learn to coexist to see tomorrow's sunrise together. Unlike many other creatures, the moment of birth for a baboon typically unfolds in the quiet of the night. While the troop settles onto high cliffs or baobab branches to stay clear of leopards, the mother distances herself to begin her labor. Giving birth under the cover of darkness is a clever strategy. They are essentially seekers built like a tank, carrying 250 kilograms of muscle and bone. With a musculoskeletal structure making up 58.8% of their body weight. The lion's muscle ratio is unmatched among mammals. Within those rippling forms lies a high density of fast-twitch fibers, powering incredibly explosive bursts of speed. 80 kilometers per hour during short sprints, an 11 meters leap achieved in a single bound. The hormone that builds trust and bonds while easing the tension caused by cortisol after a day of facing risks. The backbone of this society is the matrilineal lineage. Unlike males who typically move on upon reaching maturity, females stay with their natal group for life. One that frequently claims the leopard's hard-earned prize and turns baboons into players in a game of survival on a completely different level. In exchange, baboons must toe the line with strict social discipline and constant vigilance. After a grand feast, the lions enter a state of physical contentment and may take it easy for several days without showing interest in the nearby primates. This silence creates a safety buffer. During the hours the lions are hyper-focused on large targets, the baboon troop can move freely on the ground to reach precious water or search for food without concern. After a grand feast, the lions enter a state of physical contentment and may take it easy for several days without showing interest in the nearby primates. This silence creates a safety buffer. During the hours the lions are hyper-focused on large targets, the baboon troop can move freely on the ground to reach precious water or search for food without concern. An adult male lion weighs 5.5 times more than a male chakma baboon. Any comparison regarding teeth or bravery becomes trivial against the presence of the planet's second largest big cat. They typically favor nighttime ambushes to avoid the collective's retaliation. This is a form of tacit cooperation where the endurance of one species is unintentionally or even intentionally bolstered by the success of the other. In the searing heat of Ruaha, the line between rivals and allies becomes blurred. The lead baboon senses the turmoil even after the seeker has departed. Amidst these struggles, another shadow looms. Larger, more powerful, and ready to discard all rules of cunning. They will be even more wary of branches carrying the leopard's scent. The mother feels more secure, but she will never let her beloved child out of her sight. However, the leopard is not the only source of fear. For the mother, the leopard's nighttime search causes her great anxiety. If her little one were lost, her heart would be in her mouth. For baboon troops, the stretch between the safety of the kopjes is a precarious zone. A lion can reach speeds of 80 kilometers per hour in a heartbeat. Once they leave the sanctuary of the granite, the troop is fully exposed to the savannah's most relentless sprinters. A lone acacia tree becomes the sole refuge amidst a sea of grass. From the high branches, baboons serve as sentinels for the entire ecosystem. Their sweeping view allows them to spot any subtle movement from a distance. Thanks to these clever informants, impalas and giraffes gain precious moments to slip away from the shadows. Such constant interference forces the king to rethink his approach. Occasionally, lions remove baboons to silence these informants. Yet, when facing a lion, the troop employs mobbing, gathering in numbers to create a wall of sound and intensity. Mature males with sharp fangs stand ready to engage in a precarious, head-on confrontation. The combination of sheer noise and boldness forces the king to weigh the cost of his pride. At times, females may choose to keep their distance when raising young or traveling alone. They know that once the pride gathers, they will turn the tables on these vocal critics. Heading further south, as the green Serengeti plains fade away, a stark reality awaits. A world devoid of color, defined by the glaring white of salt and dust. This is Etosha National Park. At its heart lies the Etosha Pan, covering nearly 5,000 square kilometers, the remains of an ancient lake that vanished millions of years ago. From space, it resembles a pale mark on the Earth's surface. Here, the sun is relentless. Heat mirages transform the cracked ground into false pools, a challenging trick of nature for any thirsty traveler. The actual watering holes serve as the command centers of existence. In Etosha, survival revolves entirely around these scarce wells. A hidden schedule is set by the instinct to endure. Mornings belong to the smaller antelope herds. Dusk is the realm of the giant elephants. And as darkness falls, the hunters take command. Anyone who breaks this order or lingers even a few minutes past their curfew faces their final moments. Flora here faces two challenges: a lack of moisture and salty soil. Low thorn bushes hold minimal but steady minerals, enough to sustain the most drought-tolerant herbivores. Etosha lions also wear a distinct look to adapt. They are often called white phantoms because of the thick salt dust on their coats. This chance color shift turns them into invisible boulders in the middle of the day. An apex seeker dons the camouflage of the parched land itself to become a formidable presence at the water's edge. On this frontier of existence, the bond between power and wit reaches a new level. The moment baboons lean down to drink in the open is when they are most at risk. When the heat surpassing 40 degrees Celsius turns Etosha into a massive oven, all standard rules of the hunt are scorched away. In this land, lions do not waste their breath on long pursuits. They simply bide their time. The white ghosts of Namibia have raised the bar for the art of camouflage. Salt dust from the pan coats their fur, turning 200-kilogram titans into invisible boulders in broad daylight. The ambush strategy begins to unfold. Since water is the ultimate authority, the king only needs to take his station among the thorn bushes near the watering hole. With heat tolerance far beyond their relatives in cooler forests, Etosha's lions can go without a meal for days, patiently waiting for fate to lead prey right to them. For baboons, thirst is a relentless enforcer. Without Chobe's leafy fortresses or Serengeti's rocky kopjes, the Etosha watering hole is a high-risk zone. To manage, the troop has established a wise survival pact, using living shields. They rarely reveal themselves alone. Instead, baboons hide within the hundreds of hooves belonging to zebras and antelopes. In a chaotic crowd, the odds of being singled out diminish. Even more, to endure the night in this treeless land, they are willing to climb human observation towers at campsites, a daring yet incredibly clever adaptation. The struggle at Etosha is sometimes more about theater than physical harm, a strange vocal showdown between two unlikely species. If they spot a hidden presence, the baboon troop will not flee. They choose to stay and stand their ground while voicing their disapproval. Continuous alarm barks for hours serve as a direct psychological maneuver. For the king, spending too much energy to catch a small baboon under the searing sun is a poor investment, especially when plump antelopes are drawing near. The art of endurance in arid regions is a fragile balance between unease and biological needs. But the rules of this stillness and patience are about to change. Heavy clouds are rolling in, carrying the promise of a complete makeover for the savanna. As the first raindrops touch the salt floor, a new arena will rise from the tall grass. If you were a creature and had to survive alongside baboons, would you choose the strategy of the bushbuck, the vervet monkey, or the impala? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. They can be harsh, even with their own kind. Baboon society is a volatile dictatorship. The alpha position brings ultimate authority, the right to pair with all females and first pick of the best food. With immense shoulder and neck strength, they quietly scale trees where the troop sleeps. A precise grip on the neck to sever the spinal link or restrict breathing. In the darkness, the baboon is quite helpless and in disarray. But when the sun rises, the balance of power shifts. Daylight is the hour for a counter-response. Upon spotting a leopard on the ground, the baboon does not retreat. Under the command of the alpha male, the entire troop activates mobbing mode. The largest males form a semicircle, blocking the cat's path of retreat. They let out piercing cries, flash their teeth, and repeatedly pressure the leopard from multiple sides. This is the group of medium-sized antelopes and hoofed animals, the most frequent business partners of the apex seekers, a game of stamina, speed, and kicks that can conclude a dynasty. First is the wildebeest. Nature seems to have assembled them from spare parts: an ox's head, a horse's mane, and an antelope's legs. A seemingly vintage design, yet one of the planet's greatest marathon runners. Their strength lies in stubbornness and vast numbers. With over 1.5 million individuals in the Great Migrations, they turn the plains into a massive river of sustenance. The wildebeest's weapon is not in its teeth, but in its endurance. They can run for hours on end to exhaust any pursuer. For the lion, the only key to bringing down this treadmill machine is patience. Waiting for an individual to lose its rhythm or misstep in the thick dust, turning chaos into opportunity. Contrary to the rowdy wildebeest, topis are proud aristocrats. They possess a sprinting speed of up to 70 kilometers per hour, enough to outpace most threats. Their survival strategy is unique, turning themselves into living landmarks atop termite mounds. This is not about showing off, but a strict security protocol. The view from above allows them to spot the golden silhouettes of lions from hundreds of meters away. To hunt a topi, lions must become masters of stealth, utilizing every acacia tree or patch of withered grass to close the gap. A single moment of distraction from the sentry on the mound is all the king needs to seal the deal. Finally, the zebra. These zebras wear more than just a fashionable outfit. The black and white stripes act as a biological glitch, making it hard for a seeker to tell where one individual begins and another ends as they move in unison. But the real weapon lies at the back. A zebra's kick carries enough force to shatter the jaw of a mature male lion. That is a severe injury, equivalent to a final sentence since eating becomes impossible. The key for the lioness queens to solve this puzzle is dismantling the herd structure. Isolating a target, forcing it into rough terrain, and approaching from the flank to stay clear of those powerful rear legs. This is the specialized work of the Pride. An organized hunt usually involves 3 to 8 members. They execute a pincer maneuver with the precision of a special forces unit. Young lionesses, full of energy but short on experience, act as the drivers. They reveal themselves on one side, creating psychological pressure to push the prey toward the target. On the other side, veteran experts wait at pickup points, the landscape's bottlenecks. As the antelopes rush into the trap in a panic, the ambushers spring up like steel coils, sealing the exit. The success rate of this coordinated strike reaches 40%, bringing home the bacon for the entire pride for several days. However, this prosperity is seasonal. These hoofed machines are tireless migrants. When water sources dry up, they depart at the call of rains in other lands, leaving the lion prides to face the eerie silence of the dry season. The protein bank has closed its doors. Now, the king must pivot his tactics. As the medium-sized prey retreats, the focus shifts to smaller, swifter, and more cunning antelope species. A new chapter begins, where group strength gives way to elite individual hunting skills and the absolute daring of those who remain. The baboon's weapons in these internal conflicts are vocalizations and canines. A male's canines are sharper than a lion's, naturally honed every time they yawn. A single bite can tear through muscle or compromise an opponent's skull. To maintain the throne, an aging alpha will form alliances with other senior males. They join forces to collectively discourage any young male who dares to challenge their power. But when losing ground, they are willing to hold an infant close to their chest as a shield. A questionable tactic that makes an opponent hesitate. If the young one is harmed, the female troop will certainly become upset and react. Additionally, the kingmaker role is vital. These are usually high-ranking females in the troop. They can influence other females to exclude and pester the newcomer, ensuring the usurper cannot rule in peace. Gone is the freedom of endless horizons. The Zambesian woodlands exist under the absolute reign of the mopan tree. As the Chobe sun begins to sear the landscape, its leaves fold shut to minimize moisture loss, hiding the truth that beneath them lies hard, salty, and nutrient-poor clay. The mopane tree creates a vast maze, a perfect arena for those who know how to utilize shadows and stillness. Yet there is another deeply social reason. Securing an antelope is how a male shows he is calling the shots within the troop's Machiavellian hierarchy. It's a display of influence to attract mates. Quite an intriguing contrast. Before King Lion, they are lowly figures, silently choosing to stay on the sidelines to preserve their well-being. But faced with fragile impalas, they suddenly transform into the harshest bullies. A new landscape emerges with rules that are far more uncompromising. In the mind of the Maasai, the Serengeti is a land that stretches forever. Here, the lead architects are not the giant elephants, but two different forces, fire and millions of hooves. The Great Migration is the pulse, the massive biological engine powering the whole ecosystem. More than 1.5 million wildebeest, 200,000 zebras, and hundreds of thousands of gazelles chase the rains to where fresh grass holds the highest levels of phosphorus and calcium to nurture life. Every footfall reshapes the landscape, turning this volcanic ash soil into the most fertile grassland on the planet. Shade in the Serengeti is a true treasure. The fragile soil, born from volcanic ash millions of years ago, resists the deep roots of large ancient trees. Across the flat plains that look like a chessboard, kopje rock formations emerge like granite islands in a deep green ocean. To a visitor, they are a breathtaking sight. For lions, they are strategic watchtowers. Kopjes also offer rare privacy for raising the next generation, while serving as the only refuge from the searing equatorial heat. The bounty of the migration has built the strongest dynasties. Prides can reach 20 or 30 members, a scale unheard of in sparser woodlands. Here, the solitary ambush of a stealthy seeker becomes more challenging. Instead, lions coordinate with the precision of a machine. One group acts as drivers, forcing the quarry toward ambushes waiting in the short grass. This is a game of patience. But every feast eventually sees the writing on the wall. As the rains shift direction, millions of hooves follow the call of instinct. Most seekers will follow that flowing tide, but the resident prides do not. They choose to stay and defend territories soaked in the trials and legacy of many generations. Once the massive protein source vanishes, the menu must change. Hunger sharpens the instinct. The king's gaze begins to fall upon the permanent residents. Baboon society is like a Shakespearean play in the bush, where intrigue, betrayal, and conflict unfold daily under the African sun. The most formidable foe of the baboon hides within that intense heat: the leopard. This apprehension is so great that merely catching the scent of a leopard's presence causes a baboon's stress hormones to spike. This rivalry has been etched into the genetic code of both species through millions of years of evolution. To counter these clever troops, the leopard has evolved into a perfect silent operator. Its coat is a masterpiece of disruptive camouflage. The rosettes break up its silhouette, allowing it to blend perfectly into the dappled light beneath dense marula trees. Padded feet help eliminate sound, allowing them to approach a target within 5 meters. The struggle between leopard and baboon depends entirely on the time of day. Dusk is when the final curtain may fall. The leopard, with superior night vision and elite climbing skills, holds the power. In fact, some studies indicate that vervet monkeys have a tendency toward alcohol cravings. They frequently take alcoholic beverages from travelers or eat fermented fruit to seek a buzz. About 20% of the troop prefers alcohol over sweet water if given the choice. If the Kruger ecosystem were a film, this monkey would likely be a humorous, endearing figure rather than a stern presence like the baboon. The rain completely erases the clarity of the dry season. The savanna dons a green wall reaching 1.5 meters high. This is a paradise of abundance, yet also a realm of uncertainty. For lions, the rainy season is when their signature golden coats become the perfect camouflage, blending into patches of parched grass and lush greenery. With visibility obscured, the success rate of ambushes skyrockets. The king simply vanishes into the thick grass. Every movement, however slight, within this maze could be the final breath of an unfortunate soul. Even so, baboons do not easily yield to the changing tides. If the ground below is a perilous place, the heights are a fortress. While lions weighing hundreds of kilograms become clumsy and heavy on the muddy soil, the monkeys display incredible agility. They move through the branches like mobile phantoms, taking advantage of the rainy season's bounty of fruit and insects to stay clear of the treacherous ground. The rainy season brings life, yet challenges those who hunt in prides. Antelope herds now scatter far and wide to enjoy the fresh grass, making the search for a feast more difficult than ever. As empty bellies begin to protest, lions are forced to consider smaller targets. Baboons, quite riskily, fall into their sights. The abundance of the rainy season is but a fleeting moment in the savanna's cycle of survival. As the final rains retreat, the green wall will crumble, giving way to dust and thirst. A new arena is taking shape. We are about to enter the most challenging phase, the dry season. The generosity of the rainy season recedes, yielding to a fractured reality. As temperatures reach 40 degrees Celsius, the savanna transforms into an inescapable furnace. The thick foliage, the baboons' strongholds, now stands as nothing more than withered skeletons. The tactical shift starts here. For the baboons, the dry season is a perilous trek. Dwindling fruit supplies force them to travel miles over the scorching ground to forage for roots and tubers. Exhaustion is a silent adversary, wearing down their resilience with every step. The troop becomes an exposed target for stealthy leopards. Yet, from another angle, the clear visibility through bare branches serves as a survival edge. They can spot a predator's silhouette from a mile away. In this searing arena of survival, information is the most precious biological insurance. In the open expanse, they act as sentries for all herbivores. An alarm bark echoes, and the lion's meal vanishes into a cloud of dust. Hunger begins to wear thin the king's patience. During the rains, the king might overlook the 5-centimeter fangs of the spirited male monkeys. But as empty stomachs protest, all hesitation is cast aside. The king no longer has the composure to tolerate these cunning informants. At parched watering holes, alpha males are ready to risk it all in a frenzied dance of destiny. They have their backs against the wall. Every shift in the relationship between lion and baboon is dictated by the savanna's massive flow of protein. The antelope herds, the most populous citizens of this land, are the resource that determines survival. If the savanna is a functioning empire, the king's power lies not in sharp fangs, but in a special currency, protein. Don't be misled by the lion's regal presence. In truth, the rise or fall of this wilderness kingdom is decided by living gold bars known as antelope. They are the budget fueling every predator's ambition. While a buffalo weighing nearly 1 ton can humble any pride with a direct charge, species like the impala or gazelle offer a more manageable family meal. They provide vital energy with minimal risk. Their massive numbers guarantee the king a steady income even when larger animals choose to leave the territory. The wild has no place for clumsy beginners. Here, the antelope serves as a visual aid in the lion's school of survival. Smaller or aging individuals are frequently used by the lioness to sharpen the instincts of the next generation. Lowering the center of gravity, timing the move, and mastering the final hold. Every lesson in the art of the hunt is practiced on these targets. It is a demanding yet effective training process. Through these small-scale pursuits, the cubs gradually come of age. They realize that an unyielding nature and coordination, rather than raw muscle alone, are what keep them at the top of the food chain. Additionally, the antelope migration serves as the compass for the pride's destiny. The king reigns wherever the food is found. When millions of wildebeest begin their journey for mineral-rich grass, lions must become cartographers of existence. The movement of these herbivores dictates where a pride settles and which lands they protect. When prey becomes scarce due to dry spells or illness, the social structure of the prides immediately unravels. The confidence of the crowd overcomes instinctive fear. The long canines of a male baboon can inflict significant harm. For a solitary creature like the leopard, being injured means an inability to hunt and potential hunger. Pride is less important than life and the future. They choose to withdraw. The image of the King of Shadows retreating from its own targets is the clearest proof of the power of unity. No one is invincible. Even the leopard must bow out before the strength of the collective when the sunlight shines through. In the heart of Africa, across grasslands stretching to the horizon, exists a kingdom forged by the sun and seasonal rains. This is the Serengeti, a name meaning the land of endless plains. In this place, the sun is no gentle friend but a formidable sovereign. Sunlight heats the air, creating shimmering mirages over the golden grass and drying up cracked riverbeds. Survival here is measured by the ability to find shade and the patience to wait. As the mobile corridors of sustenance depart, the king's menu becomes leaner and more demanding. Welcome to the retail sector of the savannah. This realm belongs to the smaller antelopes, athletes equipped with the keenest radar systems on the planet. The impala and the gazelle. The impala is a flawless early warning system. They possess scent glands on their hind legs to mark paths and ears capable of catching the slightest frequency. An adult impala can leap 3 meters high and 10 meters long, making standard pouncing attempts look amateur. Meanwhile, gazelles are masters of visual deception. Their stotting behavior is a cheeky message sent to the seeker. Their bodies are streamlined for explosive speed, turning them into tan-colored lightning bolts across the plains. For a lion, mobilizing the whole pride for a single gazelle is a waste of resources. A large group only creates clutter and risks exposure to those sharp eyes. 1 or 2 hunters are the absolute limit. The strategy here requires ultimate patience. The lion must close the gap into the red zone under 15 meters. You see, lions are not built for distance. They have high twitch muscle fibers that allow for frightening bursts of speed for only a few brief seconds. If the game isn't finished within the first 30 meters, the antelope wins through superior lung capacity. Success rates in this niche hover around 20 to 25%. The prey is so agile it can pivot mid-air, leaving the seeker behind in the dust. The good news is the risk of harm is nearly zero. There are no jaw-shattering kicks or sharp horns to worry about. This is the ideal training ground for young lions or solitary females looking to show off their individual talent. Every successful catch is a certificate of maturity, allowing them to cut their teeth as independent hunters before the harsh dry season tightens its grip. When night falls, primates must locate sleeping spots in high branches to avoid seekers. Baboons, with their superior strength, always claim the highest, safest, and most stable branches. They push vervet monkeys to lower or thinner limbs at the edge of the canopy. Unintentionally, the vervet monkey becomes a living shield for the baboon. If a leopard makes a move during the night, the vervet monkey serves as the first line of defense. Because of this, baboons have the time to flee or mount a counter-response. Despite being overwhelmed, the vervet monkey succeeds through social intelligence. They live under a strict matrilineal system. Females remain within the troop for life, while males must depart upon reaching maturity. This harshness is only part of the story. Behind the raw pounces is a trade-off that defies imagination. An incredibly cunning dark side that they have carefully hidden beneath the guise of the pursued. What you are about to see will completely redefine the meaning of honesty in the wild. In Tanzania's Mwagusi region, standard biological rules have been torn apart. Here, the baboon and lion have established what is known as a shadow pact. This is a departure from loyalty. These primates have chosen to trade their early warning system, a duty so regular it serves the entire ecosystem, for a chance to endure. They have learned to remain silent in the presence of the ultimate predator. An unspoken rule persists across generations. The king will not make a move so long as his subjects maintain absolute silence. Friction between prides flares up over the few remaining patches of life. It is a classic irony of nature. The supreme ruler is actually led by the nose, by the footsteps of the prey. However, not every steak on the savannah table is prepared the same way. For an apex predator, choosing a meal is a sophisticated game of energy math. Each antelope species, with its unique size and speed, requires a different set of engagement rules. To appreciate the king's tactical finesse, we must look closely at how the antelope world is divided into different weight classes. Welcome to the Super Heavyweight Fighters Club. This is no place for the faint of heart or solitary seekers. To face this group, the lion must activate a full surround and neutralize mode. This is a high-stakes team game. A mature buffalo can weigh up to 900 kilograms, possessing horns capable of piercing the steel-like hide of any interloper. The eland, the giant of the antelope family, carries the mass of a truck, yet possesses a startling leap. And of course, there is the giraffe, the savanna's mobile watchtower. These engagements showcase the tactics and daring of the royal forces. The African buffalo is known as the Black Titan. They possess a fiery temperament and a formidable sense of unity. A head-on charge can shatter a lion's ribs in an instant. The key to success here lies in the presence of the males. They provide the raw muscle needed to break the resistance of this dark giant. The strategy is exhaustion. The hunting party clings to the flanks and legs, using gravity to turn the target into a stranded anchor. A struggle can last for hours as the predator's persistence tries to overcome the prey's iron will to survive. One small slip in positioning can turn the seeker into a fallen casualty beneath steel hooves. Facing the eland, the lion confronts a towering wall of muscle. The eland's weapons are its mass and sharp horns ready to pierce an opponent's underside. The only solution is to restrict the airway. Because the hides of these giants are too thick for standard methods, the hunters must focus on cutting off the oxygen. A firm grip on the nose or throat is the necessary finale. With the giraffe, the stakes are even higher. A rear kick from those long legs can crush a lion's skull in a heartbeat. Lions in this region have developed a unique technique, upsetting the balance. When that tower topples, its reign officially ends. Bringing down a giant can sustain the pride for days on end. But the price is often too high. A deep wound or a broken jaw is a final curtain call in the wild. The king is a pragmatist. He understands he cannot bite off more than he can chew by gambling the kingdom's future on these intense struggles too often. These extravagant feasts are only an option when hunger surpasses the limit of endurance. A more frequent target, providing a steady budget and lower risk for the pride's prosperity, belongs to another group. They are the ghosts of speed and the most numerous citizens of the plains, the medium-sized antelopes. In the lingering morning mist, a pack of African wild dogs begins to move in rhythm, as if they share a single heartbeat. Their footsteps are nearly silent, like specters gliding across the parched earth. Social structure. They are pack seekers with a tightly knit social framework. Only one dominant pair is permitted to breed, and other members assist in raising the young by sharing food. This cooperation gives the pups a survival rate far higher than most other seekers. Each individual possesses a unique coat pattern, helping them recognize one another quickly during high-speed chases and across great distances. Large, rounded ears not only assist in cooling, but also capture sound with extraordinary sensitivity, allowing them to keep an eye out for the movements of their targets from afar. Their communication is subtle and discreet, relying on high-frequency sounds and gestures to ensure precise coordination without alerting their target. Before each pursuit, the entire pack performs an energetic greeting ritual to strengthen unity and synchronize their tactics. Yet the crown always comes with a heavy burden. The alpha male constantly faces immigrants. These are young, strong males from other groups moving in to seek opportunities for advancement. They bring fresh blood and the ambition to overturn the old order. But the contest for protein on the savannah isn't a privilege reserved solely for the feline family. As soon as the professional seekers take a breather, another group of pursuers begins to emerge from the canopy. Mature male baboons, specifically the chacma and olive baboon species. The world often views them as gentle plant eaters, a grave misconception. They are ambitious, omnivorous creatures. When their bodies demand concentrated protein and fats, these noisy neighbors are ready to become a source of great unease for the hoofed species. This time of year is a true paradise. The calving season for antelopes brings an explosion in the number of young ones. These newborn little ones are the perfect focus. They are fragile, lacking the speed for a getaway, and their only defense is staying hidden. But against the baboon's intellect, the tall grass becomes ineffective. This is when the true nature of this primate surfaces. They don't need high-energy pursuits spanning several kilometers. They simply need observation and a set of hands strong enough to seize the moment. Baboons do not possess the instincts of a professional seeker like the lion. There is no move aimed at swiftly restricting breath. They utilize raw force, a primal, unflinching intensity.
Which fight in today's episode stayed with you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And do not forget to like and subscribe to join me on the journeys ahead. Or, if you want to explore more wildlife, keep going with the most dangerous and ruthless predators of Africa. Or, Win or Die, full episode, Deadliest Battles for Survival.